You're in a season where you know what you want, you're going after it with everything you know how to do and be, and you're hitting stop after stop. It's time to pivot. But after years of entrepreneurship, parenthood, marriage, and creative work, I've learned that not all pivoting is created equal. This video is all my essential advice to successful pivoting that I myself have implemented, and I've helped clients implement in their own crucial turning points to create the outcomes that we most desire. The first thing you need to know before making a pivot is you must be sure to clarify and expand the vision. If you're going after something hoping for a generic outcome like make six figures, but you don't have a business plan or something to sell, then you need greater clarity in your vision. If you're going after something extremely specific, like make six figures by becoming a lifestyle vlogging YouTuber whose brand is all about travel, food, and dogs, then you need to expand the vision. The key to successful pivoting that leads to achieving the outcome you want is in having a very defined vision, but you don't want to become so attached and tunnel vision that you don't allow yourself to be guided by signals that you receive. So often, especially with newer entrepreneurs or parents or partners, you kind of sort of know what you want, but you don't have the necessary clarity to define it and refine it. So let me use my recent example from last segment I shared about finding childcare for my family to illustrate my point. I was certainly like this as a new parent when I actively remember reaching out to a nanny agency who said they could match us to exactly the right candidate for us, and we just needed to tell them what we were looking for. I remember saying, I'm not really sure. I've never done this before. I described our parenting style, our values, but everything I shared was fairly unspecific and unclear. The more attempts that I made to find childcare over the years, the more I understood our values, our priorities, and our needs. We kept finding people that would work for a season or a year, and then I'd have to start all over again, when what I truly wanted was a long-term fit, someone who could grow and stay with us. Sometimes we have to allow ourselves to know what we don't want before we can name what we do want. So if that's you, then keep taking steps towards clarity through action. Try things, give them long enough to truly know if they work or don't work, and then take what you've learned and tweak the approach with those findings. So going back to my example, once I reached a point of total clarity in my own childcare journey, which, by the way, 3.5 years in and 4 nannies deep, mind you, I went after it. I posted my ad in 3 places, I described very clearly what I was looking for, and I did my research to understand professional expectations and appropriate compensation plans. If you listen to my story in the previous segment, you'll know that didn't go well. I reviewed 136 applications and held 33 interviews. I was doing everything I could to communicate exactly what I wanted to attract the right person. But I was not only not finding what I was looking for, but I was wading through a lot of really terrible experiences that wore me down to the point of considering giving up. So if this is you, and your vision is so clear and so refined that it feels like you've tried everything and maybe this specific thing just doesn't exist, or you're wrong for being so specific, that's when you need to expand and zoom back out a little. In this case, for me, that meant considering that I'm looking for this person in the wrong place. I wasn't actually looking for a nanny. I was looking for a family assistant, it turns out, something I'll share more about in the next segment. So, where do family assistants look for jobs? Not on nanny websites or Facebook groups, but rather a job search engine. I renamed my ad, paid for the subscription on that job site, and within 48 hours, I had almost 50 new applications. Again, you can hear how that happy ending unfolded if you listen to the previous segment called The Key to Being Unstoppable. But I wouldn't have found what I was looking for if I didn't pivot in expanding my POV. The next essential advice for making successful pivots is when you feel like giving up, you must do these 3 things. 1, put the goal down for 24 to 48 hours. This was an invaluable piece of advice that I received from my community that helped me so much because sometimes When we're so deep into the process of chipping away at a goal or an outcome that we're after, we start eat, sleep, and breathing our way through our lives to get there. It's like staring at something so long that your vision starts to go blurry. Sometimes you have to close your eyes and rest a minute before looking at it again, which brings me to the second thing you must do, which is prioritize self-care. Undoubtedly, you have become a dog with a bone about a particular outcome or goal, and you're not treating it with as much balance as you would at the start of the goal. Yes, successful outcomes require grit and doing things that we don't want to do and persevering through hard things. But you need equal parts rest during these seasons, or you will burn out and give up. So use that 24 or 48 hours for resting and recharging and looking around at the rest of your beautiful life. And lastly, seek support. That could look like calling a close friend or two, scheduling an urgent session with your therapist or your coach, or crowdsourcing from your online community, or all three of those. Likely something someone says will spark a new angle or an idea you could try when you come back to it at the end of the 1 or 2 day break. Let yourself be seen and heard and celebrated for not giving up. Be clear about what kind of advice would be helpful to you and implement only the thing that lights something up in you and let go of anything that adds extra weight or fear to your already heavy load. I have one more essential piece of advice for navigating a pivot. Don't change what's working. A lot of times, if something isn't getting us to the result we want fast enough, according to us, we become tempted to throw the baby out with the bathwater, scrap the whole thing, tear it all down, and start over. This is a mistake. Find the thing that is true, that is working, that does feel right, and keep iterating with that. So often I see people getting impatient and burning it down before you've even finished building it. That's like watching an artist layer on a painting and she doesn't like one layer, so she throws the whole painting away. Build off of what is working, what is selling, what is your natural skill or genius zone, or what connects to your original vision. It's great to stay unattached to the how along the way, as in being willing to try a different variation on a theme from the original concept. Using my examples from earlier, like renaming the role family assistant instead of nanny and posting it on a job site. Or like experimenting with content if your ultimate goal is to make 6 figures on YouTube. My ad was true and exactly what I wanted. I just needed to pivot what wasn't working, which was the pool of candidates I was searching in, and shifting the marketing of the job. And with the content examples, when you find something that performs well right away or over a slow burn, integrate that feedback by iterating on that. Use the same title structure, the same thumbnail template, the same concept until you can find the thing that is working. Don't change what's working. And that's it for my essential advice when you're preparing for a pivot. I would love to hear from you what else you'd add so we can collect excellent advice here for the next time that we need it. Thank you so much for subscribing, commenting, and sharing this episode. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's episodes on the Contentment Creator channel, where we explored what it really means to pivot without giving up on the vision. Whether you caught the whole story, the strategy, the practical hiring breakdown, or the deeper reflection on self-care during pivots, thank you for making it all the way to the end. I hope you're subscribed so you don't miss another episode, and I hope this week helps you keep going with a little more courage, clarity, and compassion. Join me in my mission to help a world full of content creators become a world of contentment creators. Bye, y'all.